Thank you to Bill Abio and Ron Hoopengarner Jr. for presenting tonight's colors. Once again, we ask everybody to please maintain 6-foot machine from Canton, Ohio. The 48, the Mountain State Missile, Jonathan Ritter from Weirton, West Virginia. In the Ken's Auto Service Center, Smith's Auto Sales, Monar Family Racing, sponsored number 48. The 701 is flying Ryan Tedesco from New Philadelphia, Ohio in the Sugar Valley meets Walnut Creek Glass, Van Meters Auto Repair, DLP Commercial Maintenance, Boulevard and Cleaners and Tuxedo Shop, sponsored 701. The number 17, your current point leader, last year's points champion, Bob Snyder Jr. from Denison, Ohio, in the Landstar Recruiting Agent, Factory Street Pub and Grill, Alexis Building Systems, Guest Motors, sponsored number 17. The number 7 is Greg Forch from Concord, Ohio, in the Hutter Race Engine, Seneca Performance, sponsored number 7. And Outback, your fastest qualifier. In the number 18, Brandon Short from North Royalton, Ohio, in the Direct Detail, Hutter Race Engines, Ernest Performance, Jason Deach Trailers, All-Star Performance, and Bicknell Racing Products, sponsored number 18. Starter Terry Coletti, green flag in hand. Riddle, ice, green flag is in the air. Ice slips up off of turn number 4. He's going to give up that second spot to Forch as the 0 of Riddle, your race leader. Here comes Tedesco underneath Tim Ice for third. Tedesco up to third. Here comes Snyder to the inside of Ice for fourth. George Riddle, your race leader. Greg Forch runs second. The 48 of Jonathan Ritter pulls pit side. Riddle fighting some handling issues. Loose race car off of the corners. Forch right there in that number 7. Halfway home, 4 in, 4 to go. Riddle continues to lead. Forch in second. Tedesco third. Snyder fourth. White flag for George Riddle. George Riddle will win heat race number 1. Forch finishes second. Tedesco third. Slun McIntosh Oil Company late models. In the Riddle Trucking Malkett Racing Engine, sponsored number 0 from Canton, Ohio. Put your hands together for George Riddle. New Philadelphia, Ohio driver in the KW Legacy Group Realty by Amber Horner Vortex Vinyl South Philly Pizza, sponsored number 30. The 07 is Josh Kemp from Columbus, Ohio. The 169, Matt Gribble Jr. from New Philadelphia, Ohio. And the Animal Racing sponsored 169. Hoffman using this as a practice session starting towards the back. Corey Herron, Josh Kempf, Matt Gribble Jr. getting ready to go green. 6-lap heat race, number 2. Kempf up to the race lead. Josh Kemp will lead lap number 1. Matt Gribble up to second. Herron third. Hoffman in fourth. Josh Kempf continues to lead. Matt Gribble almost lost it off of turn number 2. That's going to put Kempf way out in front. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go for Josh Kempf. Off turn number 4, heat race 2 to Josh Kempf. Matt Gribble finishes 2nd, Emerson Hoffman 3rd, and Corey Herron 4th. Columbus, Ohio, put your hands together for Josh Kempf. Starting at 10 o'clock. So 10 o'clock, no more alcohol sales. So just so everybody's aware of that. As we move into the Van Meter Auto Repair Modifieds. Starting on the pole, the 38, Kevin McClintock, last week's feature winner. In that number 38, the 09 is Philip Cox. The 02 is Rick Sibla. The 66 is Lewis McGrath. The 55, the Rooster, Brandon Bailey from Leesville, Ohio. And your fastest qualifier from Carrollton, Ohio in the 331 is Mike Stone. McClintock, last week's feature winner. Philip Cox has a couple feature wins under his belt in that beautiful blue and green 09. Rick Sibla, Lewis McGrath, the youngster in the 66. Sibla, former late model champion here at Midvale Speedway. The Rooster, Brandon Bailey, season champion a couple years ago in the 55. He's got a feature win this year. Mike Stone has 1 career feature win coming last season. 8-lap heat race number 1 for the Van Meter Auto Repair Modifieds, getting ready to go green. Green flag in the air, McClintock and Cox. Rick Sibla to the inside of Philip Cox for the 2nd position. Sibla behind McClintock. McClintock will lead lap number 1. Sibla in 2nd, Cox in 3rd. Then the 66 of McGrath, the 55 of Bailey. Brandon Bailey trying to look underneath Lewis McGrath. That outside lane just not there yet. Bailey underneath the 66 of McGrath for the 4th spot. McClintock continues to lead. White flag for Kevin McClintock. Off turn number 4, heat race number 1 to Kevin McClintock. Rick Sibla finishes 2nd, Philip Cox in 3rd, Brandon Bailey 4th, Lewis McGrath 5th, and Mike Stone in 6th. That outside lane, very green racetrack right now. Pulling to the line, Van Meter Auto Repair. Heat race number 1 winner from Dover, Ohio in the Van Meter Auto Repair. Stewart's Flooring, Broad Run Cheese House, Penzo's Pizza, New Philadelphia. Federated Auto Parts, Blick Tool and Die, Dave's Auto Body, Consolidated Stitches Embroidery. Dean Miles and Alicia Manley, MD, sponsored 38. Put your hands together for Kevin McClintock. So moving into heat race number 2, racetrack again will continue to get better as the sun goes down and more rubber gets put onto the racetrack. The X09 is Wes Ennis. He'll start on the pole along with the 87 of Zach Leisure. Leisure had a great second place finish a few weeks ago. Well, it's more like a month or two ago now. The number 4 is Jerry DeVore. The 54 Big Mac, Doug McMillan. 49 is Bob Page. He picked up his first feature win earlier this season in that number 49. And the number 12, I believe Vanessa McCreary in the number 12 for the heat race tonight. 8-lap heat race number 2. Van Meter Auto Repair Modifieds getting ready to go green. Chief starter Terry Coletti. Green flag in hand. Twirling it around. Getting ready to go. Ennis, Leisure on the front row. Green flag is in the air. Heat race number 2. Leisure trying to make that outside lane work. Still there. Ennis, your race leader. Leisure gets into turn number 3. Now pulls back alongside. Will it stick? Wes Ennis going to lead lap number 1. Doug McMillan using that outside lane around Jerry DeVore to pick up the 3rd spot. Leisure still battling in that outside lane. Now getting a good run off turn number 2. Into turn 3. Leisure and Ennis side by side. Big Mac in 3rd. In the feature a few weeks ago, Zach Leisure stuck in that outside lane alongside Randy Gray. They spent 25 laps side by side, and now we got a caution in turn number 1. Vanessa McCreary spins in turn 1. Your top 6, 3 laps complete, 5 to go. Green flag back in the air for Ennis. Here comes Doug McMillan to the inside of Leisure for the 2nd spot. Doug McMillan still trying to get around Leisure for that 2nd spot. Good battle behind Wes Ennis. 2 laps to go. White flag for Wes Ennis. Leisure hanging on by about a half a car length over Doug McMillan for the 2nd spot. Now McMillan battles back. He has the advantage going into turn number 3. Off turn number 4, Wes Ennis, your winner. Zach Leisure by a nose finishes 2nd. Doug McMillan 3rd. Bob Page 4th. Jerry DeVore 5th. And Vanessa McCreary in 6th. Up from the compact division part-time schedule last year and the modified full-time schedule this year from Strasburg, Ohio in the Ennis Hauling Vortex Vinyl J&S Mowing sponsored X09. Put your hands together for Wes Ennis. Number 3 for the Van Meter Auto Repair Modified, subbing for Braden Swaney tonight. In the number 57 is DR3, Don Rufner III, pulling double duty tonight. He was the fastest qualifier in the compact division. The number 99 subbing for Derek Gruhl is Brady McLean from Carrollton, Ohio. The 75 is Bobby DeVore, the 2nd. The 338 is Brandon France. The 24 is Nick Grubbs. And the 15 is Kyle Finlayson. Another one of those youngsters moving up from the compact division, getting into a modified here at Midvale Speedway. Field gets the 1-to-go signal. Let's see, DR3, he's a compact regular. Brady McLean, Bobby DeVore the 2nd. Then you have a former compact champion in the 338 of France and the 15 of Finlayson. Former sports stock competitor, dirt racer in Grubbs. Green flag in the air, 8-lap heat race number 3. DR3 with the advantage down the back straightaway. Bobby DeVore tried to get to the inside of McLean. McLean closed the door. Nick Grubbs pulling off the speedway in the 24. Good battle for third between France and Bobby DeVore. White flag for DR3. Brady McLean in second. DeVore, France, and Finlayson. Caution on the speedway. White flag in the air this time. Green and white is out. Green flag in the air. Oh, Brandon France sideways off of turn 2. Here comes the 57 of DR3. He'll take heat race number 3. DeVore will finish second. Then France and Finlayson. Modified heat race win. Subbing for Braden Swaney tonight. From New Philadelphia, actually from Yorksville, Ohio, in the J&S Mowing, Quaker Drive-Thru, Possum Hollow Chassis, Mike Swaney Memorial. Sponsored number 57. Put your hands together for DR3, Don Rufner III. So moving into the Snap-on Tools by Doug Pool Street Stocks for their heat race. Again, the winner of this heat, or the winner of this division feature tonight, going to get an over $800 Snap-on Tools impact gun from Doug Pool and Snap-on Tools. They got to have that sticker, that Snap-on Tools sticker on their car. So starting on the pole to 55 is Robbie Kordiak. Robbie Kordiak in the 55, Honky John Tannerelli in the 67, the grocery getter on the outside of the front row. The 22 is Kylie Wood. The 7 is Gabe Pringle in his backup ride. The 3 is Kyle Grove. And your fastest qualifier, the 88 of Dennis Wood. 8-lap heat race number 1 for the Snap-on Tools by Doug Pool Street Stocks. Getting ready to go. Green, Kordiak, and Tannerelli. Green flag in the air. Kordiak going to have the race lead. Tannerelli going to drop back into second. Here comes Kylie Wood with a good move on the bottom. She's going to move up to the inside of Tannerelli for second. Kylie Wood to the inside of Tannerelli. Here comes Kyle Grove to the back of the 22 for the move into that battle. Oh, Tannerelli sideways off of turn number 4. Wood up to the second spot. Grove to third. Here comes Kyle Grove to the inside of Kylie Wood for second. Robbie Kordiak, your race leader. Kyle Grove to second. Here comes Dennis Wood. Gets around his daughter, moves up to the third spot. Kylie back to fourth. Gabe Pringle fifth. Tannerelli sixth. Oh, and Pringle spins off of 4. 7 of Pringle. Getting ready to go back to green. Green flag in the air off of 4. Kyle Grove with the move on the outside. He'll take over the race lead from Robbie Kordiak. And here comes Dennis Wood. Wood to the outside of Kordiak for second. Dennis Wood all over the back of that number 3 of Kyle Grove. 2 laps to go. White flag for Grove. Can he hold off Dennis Wood for heat race number 1? Wood now trying to get to the outside. Kordiak right there in third. Through turns 3 and 4 off turn number 4. Heat race to Kyle Grove. Dennis Wood second. Kordiak third. Kylie Wood fourth. John Tannerelli in fifth. From Yerricksville, Ohio, in the El Poblito, Mexican Cuisine, Car Time Express, Siffy Cat, Cat Condos, and Affordable Towing, sponsored number 3. Put your hands together for Kyle Grove. Moving into heat race number 2, Snap-on Tools by Doug Pool Street Stocks. The 22 is Kyle Rector. Subbing for Frank Boyce, and the 28 is Frank Parvin. The 77 is Josh Feaster. The 118 is Colt Locker. The 44 is Brandon Donnelly. And the 74, Bob Passwaters Jr. Rector will have the race lead. Our thoughts and prayers with Frank Boyce. Had surgery this past week. Frank Parvin in the 28 this week for Boyce. And Feaster almost loses it off of 4. Rector, Boyce, Rector, Parvin, Feaster, Locker. Your front 4. Frank Parvin looking to the inside of Kyle Rector for the race lead. Here comes Parvin in the 28. Frank Parvin, new race leader in the 28. Halfway home, 4 and 4 to go. Rector back to second. Feaster, Passwaters Jr. now getting by the 118, a Locker for fourth. White flag for Frank Parvin. Rector, Feaster. Been quite a long time since Frank Parvin has went to victory lane at Midvale Speedway. He's going to do it in heat race number 2. Checkered flag for Frank Parvin. Rector finishes second. Feaster in third. Passwaters Jr. in fourth. And Colt Locker Camaro Hair in fifth. They're up at Barberton Speedway. It's been a while since he's been to victory lane here at Midvale. From Akron, Ohio, in the Nephews Painting, Ambrose Fabrication, Wood RPM Motorsports, Hammer Construction, Copley Car Care, Diamond Tire, and True Line Graphics. Sponsored number 28. Put your hands together for Frank Parvin. So again, if you are somewhere around 5 years old, for a boy, come up and get a ticket to win a bicycle. And if you have a little girl that is probably 1 or 2, maybe 18 months, somewhere in that ballpark, come up and get a ticket. Going to give away a couple bicycles up here at the main scoring tower. Come up and see Kelly Chapman on the deck of the main scoring tower. Heat race number 3, Jason Gruhl, first night out in the 99. The 55 is Kyler Bertram. The 64 of Ian Porco. The 13 of Kenny Feaster Jr. The 54 is Chase Berkey. And the 48 is Tony Barbucio. Bertram going to have the race lead off at turn number 2. Porco trying to get to the inside, and he gets into the 99 of Gruhl. And we've got a caution on the speedway. Complete restart. So getting ready to go green, Gruhl and Bertram. Green flag in the air. Bertram going to have the race lead off at turn number 2. Bertram, your race leader. Gruhl runs second. Feaster third. Porco fourth. Bertram starting to lose the handle on that machine. Gruhl getting some heat from Kenny Feaster for the second spot. Bertram way up the racetrack as here comes Feaster, the inside of Gruhl for second. Halfway home, 4 and 4 to go. Feaster up to the second spot. Gruhl back to third. Porco fourth. Berkey fifth. Bertram into the fence off of 4. Feaster almost wrecked trying to avoid him. And Bertram going to hang on to the race lead. Porco and Berkey move their way around Gruhl for third and fourth. Bertram off of turn number 4 again. White flag for Kyler Bertram. Feaster trying to get to the inside of Bertram. Hoping it, oh, caution on the speedway. Barbucio spins off at turn number 4. Chase Berkey, couple of youngsters in row 2. Green flag in the air, much better start that time. Bertram has the race lead. Feaster in second. Going to close the door on Porco. Bertram going to come off at turn number 4 and a win. Heat race number 3. Kenny Feaster Jr. pulling to the line. Heat race number 3 winner. In the RPM Auto Sales, Joe's Auto, Tony Newman Roofing, Lakes Auto Recycling, sponsored number 55 from Akron, Ohio. Put your hands together for Kyler Bertram. Pulling onto the speedway, the Snap-on Tools by Doug Pool Mini Trucks for their first of 2 heat races. Starting on the pole, the 4 is Tim Scott from Sunbury, Ohio. The number 99 is actually Bob Johnson. Bob Johnson in the 99. The 31 first night out, Bill Abil in that 31. Beautiful looking truck. The number 2T is Barney Gerber. And your fastest qualifier, the 4:43, and last year's champion, Eddie McLean. Should be a good one here for the mini trucks. Getting ready to go green, Tim Scott, Bob Johnson on the front row. Green flag in the air. Tim Scott, feature winner a few weeks ago. He'll have the race lead. Johnson up the racetrack. Here comes Abil. Bill Abil to the inside of Johnson for second. Eddie McLean going to follow Abil through to third. Johnson back to fourth. Gerber fifth. Tim Scott hanging on to that race lead. Bill Abil in second. 2 laps to go. Eddie McLean looking to the outside of Abil for the second spot. White flag going to come out for Tim Scott. Tim Scott will come off of turn number 4 and win heat race number 1. Abil will finish second. Eddie McLean third. Bob Johnson fourth. And Barney Gerber fifth. So Tim Scott hangs on from the pole.
Way.
So pulling to the line, heat race number 1 winner for the mini trucks in the Scott Speed Shop sponsored number 4. Put your hands together for Tim Scott. For the Snap-on Tools by Doug Pool Mini Trucks. Rick Brink will start on the pole in the 57. The 68 is Ron Hoopengartner Jr. The 26 is Chad Squires. The 29 is Tim Croft. And the 00 is Blake Ripley. Getting ready to go green, Brink and Hoopengartner. Green flag is in the air. Four wide into turn number 1. Squires will take over the race lead. And here comes Ripley. Ripley thought about the 3 wide move into turn 3. Thought better of it. Tim Croft on the outside of Squires. Three wide down the back straightaway. Ripley going to have the race lead. Ripley splits the 26 of Squires and the 29 of Croft. And he will have the race lead as Hoopengartner pulls pit side. Halfway home for Ripley, Croft, and Squires. White flag for Blake Ripley. Off turn number 4. Your winner, Blake Ripley. Tim Croft will finish second, Chad Squires third, and Rick Brink in fourth. Heat race number 2 winner in the 000 from Somerdale, Ohio. Put your hands together for Blake Ripley. Turn number 2 and go down the inside part of the back straightaway, so the medium small oval. The number 62 is Caden Scott in Hoops Auto Body France Trucking, sponsored 62. The 65 is Blake Miley from Sherridsville in the Ross Mountain Barbecue sponsored ride. The number 5 tonight, subbing for Tabitha Stuber, is Drew Romig from Bowerston, Ohio. And the 75, new track record holder, is Matt Miley in the 75. Caden Scott picked up the feature win in the trophy stocks on the large small oval a couple of weeks ago. Tabitha Stuber had the win the last time they ran this configuration in the number 5, but Drew Romig behind the wheel, that number 5, subbing for Tabitha tonight. And Romig going to look to the inside of Scott, thought better of it. Matt Miley to the inside of his son Blake for the 3rd spot. Three laps in, 3 to go. Caden Scott trying to hang on in front of Drew Romig. White flag for Caden Scott, trying to hang on. Drew Romig in the 2nd spot. Matt Miley, Blake Miley. Last time into turn number 4. Scott gonna hang on and pick up the heat race win. Romig finishes 2nd, Matt Miley in 3rd, Blake Miley in 4th. And pulling to the line in an Act Tuning victory lane, in the France Trucking Hoops Auto Body, sponsored number 62 from Roswell, Ohio. Put your hands together for Caden Scott. Starting on the pole, the 53 is Curtis Finlayson. The 47 is Don Rufner Jr. The 57 is Blaze Bacon. The 13 is Kenny Feaster Jr. The 24 is Brent Schreffler. The 178 is Stephen Feaster. The 64 is Jamie Leslie, and your fastest qualifier, the 007 DR3, Don Rufner III.
8 laps.
So the youngster Curtis Finlayson and the old veteran Don Rufner Jr. on the front row. Green flag in the air. Feaster had some issues getting going, stacking up the field, hurt Stephen Feaster a little bit. Good battle up front between Finlayson and Rufner Jr. Don Rufner Jr. will lead at the line. Curtis Finlayson 2nd. And here comes Stephen Feaster to the outside of Blaze Bacon for the 3rd spot. Tough break for Kenny Feaster Jr. as he pulls pit side in the 13. Rufner, your race leader. Here comes Stephen Feaster to the outside of Finlayson. Stephen Feaster to the outside of Don Rufner Jr. He'll take over the race lead. Here comes Jamie Leslie. Leslie to the outside. Blaze Bacon spins in turn number 1. Stephen Feaster, 1 lap to go. Stephen Feaster, Jamie Leslie to the line. Stephen Feaster will win. Jamie Leslie second, Brent Schreffler third, Don Rufner Jr. fourth, and the 53 of Curtis Finlayson. Compacts from New Philadelphia, Ohio, and the Brailers Cleaning and Restoration C&K Auto sponsored number 178. Put your hands together for Stephen Feaster. Okay, this message. So heat race number 2, the 27 is Billy Hilliker, the 443 is Connor McLean, the 44 is Dan Bucky, subbing for Mike Stuber tonight. The 00 is John Heidi, the 69 is Drew Romig, the 19 is Eugene Kopp Jr., the 7 is the General, Will Custer, and the 41 is Toby Cook. So getting ready to go green, 8-lap heat race number 2. The 27 of Billy Hilliker. The 443 of Connor McLean. The 44 of Dan Bucky. The 00 of Heidi. Green flag in the air. Billy Hilliker with the race lead into turn number 3. McLean now being challenged by Bucky to the inside in the 44. Subbing for Mike Stuber tonight. Bucky in the 44, and Heidi almost lost it in turn number 1. Romig going to take over the 4 spot. Bucky going to take over second behind Hilliker, your race leader. Dan Bucky trying to get around the 27 of Billy Hilliker for the race lead. McLean in third. The General, Will Custer, up to fourth. White flag for Hilliker. Final time into turn number 3, off at turn number 4, Billy Hilliker going to win heat race number 2. Bucky second, McLean third, Custer fourth, and Eugene Kopp in fifth. To the line heat race number 2 winner from Bowerston, Ohio in the Pork Chop Vinyl Graphics, Accurate Auto, Greg Paris Seamless Spouting, sponsored number 27. Put your hands together for Billy Hilliker. So final heat race. Final preliminary event of week number 7. The 96 is Chris Caldwell. The 79 is Phil Bunton Jr. The 7S is Savannah Alm. The 39 is Dan Sharpless. The 6 is Ryan Alm. The 38 is Little Hands, Chad Wise. The 22 is Katie Wood. The 85 is Jonathan Weber. The 79 is Eric Brokaw. Phil Bunton Jr., former Pure Stock driver, first night out in the 79. Going to have the race lead into turn number 3. Here comes Caldwell back on the bottom. Chris Caldwell, Bunton will lead at the line. Savannah Alm made a good move. She's a former second feature winner, and she's got the race lead on lap number 2. Little Hands trying to work his way up through the field. Here comes Chad Wise up to second. Here comes Ryan Alm as his sister leads. He runs third. Bunton back to fourth. Here comes Dan Sharpless. He'll take over the 4th spot. Little Hands trying to run down the youngster. Savannah Alm out front. Speeding ticket for the 7S. Savannah Alm going to get the black flag. 2 laps under her qualifying time. New race leader, Chad Little Hands Wise. Savannah Alm gets the black flag. She pulls pit side. Chad Wise, your race leader. Ryan Alm runs second. Dan Sharpless third. Katie Wood fourth. Phil Bunton Jr. in 5th. Then Chris Caldwell, Eric Brokaw, and Jonathan Weber. White flag for Little Hands. Ryan Alm trying to make a last-ditch effort. Is Wise having some issues? Nope, he's going to win. Ryan Alm finishes second, Sharpless third, Katie Wood fourth, and Phil Bunton in 5th. Pulling to the line. From Canton, Ohio, into Steve's Auto Service, UFO Fabrications, AccuCut CNC Metal, Butterball Fabrications, Keys Car, Snyder Home Improvement, New Fast Motorsports, Bully Kennel, and Finish Line Designs. Sponsored number 38. Put your hands together for the B feature bandit, Chad Little Hands Wise. Stocks, 10-lap feature, Blake Miley, Drew Romig on the front row, Matt Miley and Caden Scott in row number 2. Green flag, 10-lap heat race or feature for the trophy stocks. Blake Miley to the inside of the 5 of Romig, and Miley going to lead by a nose at the line on lap number 1. Good battle up front between Blake Miley and Drew Romig. Blake Miley was the first feature winner of the trophy stocks this season. Remember that for your Trivial Pursuit question in about 20 years from now. Who was the first ever trophy stock winner at Midvale Speedway? It was Blake Miley, and he leads lap number 3. Romig runs in the 2nd spot all over the rear deck lid of that 65. A few car lengths back to Matt Miley, your new track record holder in the 75, and Caden Scott, last week's feature winner in the 62. When I say last week, I mean last month, which is the last race we had. Halfway home, 5 in, 5 to go. Romig trying to find a way around Blake Miley. Gonna have to use that chrome horn. Romig lost a lot of ground there trying that outside. Miley going to pull away by about a car length or so. White flag going to come out this time for Blake Miley. Can Romig get around? Final time through turns 1 and 2. Down the short back straightaway. Miley protecting that inside lane. He's going to come off at turn number 4 and win. Blake Miley, your winner. Drew Romig finishes second. Matt Miley in third. And Caden Scott in fourth. Barbecue, Double E Jerky, Hill of Horror. Sponsored number 65, pulling Knack Tuning victory lane for the second time in his young career. Here's your winner, Blake Miley. And he's even putting on his mask for me. Come on over here, buddy. Congratulations. Tell you what, you had Drew all over you, didn't you?
Yeah, I sure did. I knew he was there. I could see him in the core of my eye. I mean, he's very competitive. I mean, he's a really good driver.
Do you think that it helps to start up front in these things?
For the short course, yes, it does.
So what are you going to do next week whenever you're running the small oval?
Smaller tires.
Okay, well, there you go. Who you want to thank on the 65 tonight, my friend?
I'd like to thank all my sponsors, Ross Mountain Barbecue, Hill of Horror, Double E Jerky, and I'd like to thank Dan Bucky for letting me run his car, and my dad and Mike Stuber and all them for a great racing team.
And you keep beating your dad. That's always a good thing.
Not in not fastest qualifier, though. That car is something else.
Well, that's okay. I'd rather be the feature winner than the fastest qualifier any day.
Yeah, it's still nice. Not very many people can say they've almost won all year with being fastest qualifier in a class.
Absolutely. Congratulations, man.
All right, thank you.
Your winner in the trophy stock division, Blake Miley. So getting ready to go again on Snap-on Tools by Doug Pool Mini Truck action here tonight at Midvale Speedway. Again, a huge shout out to Ferris Chevrolet and Pat Ferris. Ferris Chevrolet, longtime supporters of Midvale Speedway and local area businesses and sports. We appreciate Ferris Chevrolet's support and continued support here at Midvale Speedway. During these uncertain times, we couldn't do it without great sponsors like Ferris Chevrolet. So Doug Pool, Snap-on Tools by Doug Pool Mini Truck feature action, getting ready to go. Beautiful pace vehicles out in front. Starting on the pole, the 000 is Blake Ripley. The 99 is Bob Johnson. The 31 is Bill Aubill. The 2T of Barney Gerber. The 443 of Eddie McLean. The number 4 Tim Scott. The 29 of Tim Croft. The 26 is Chad Squires. The 57 of Rick Brink and the 68 of Ron Hoopengarner Jr. 4, Rick Brink, Hoopengarner in row 5, getting ready to go green. 15 lap. Snap-on Tools by Doug Pool Mini Truck feature is green. division. Lots of experience behind those front two. Getting ready to go green. Green flag is in the air, Ripley and Johnson. Much better start this time. Blake Ripley going to have the race lead. Johnson going to drop back into second. Here comes Aubil looking to the inside. Bill Aubil will move up to that second spot. Johnson back to third. Ripley will lead lap number one. Eddie McLean to the inside of Johnson. He'll take over the third spot. Here comes Gerber. Gerber to the inside of Johnson for fourth. Aubil hunting down Blake Ripley for the race lead. Getting by the 68 of Hoopengarner on the back straightaway. Here comes Aubil for the race lead. Bill Aubil to the race lead on the 00. Eddie McLean trying to get around the 00 of Ripley. Bill Aubil and that beautiful brand new number 31T is out front. But he's going to have company up front because here comes the 443. And Ripley's going to spin McLean in turn number 2. To green, Aubil, McLean, Gerber. Green flag in the air. McLean in that outside lane. Aubil on the bottom. Bill Aubil will have the race lead into turn number 3. Eddie McLean still looking in that outside lane. Gerber in the third spot. Aubil going to lead by a nose at the line. Here comes Eddie McLean in the 443. A good run off at turn number 2. Dead heat into turn number 3 for the race lead. Aubil trying to hold it on the bottom. McLean on the top. Aubil continues to lead by a nose at the line. Bill Aubil clears the 443 of McLean. McLean going to drop back in right on the rear tailgate of the 31 of Aubil. They get by Rick Brink another time, put him a lap down. Good battle for third between Gerber, Johnson, and Tim Scott. About a half a straightaway behind the race leaders. 5 laps to go this time around. 5 to go. 5 laps to go for Bill Aubil. Aubil looking for his first feature win in the mini trucks, and I think he won subbing last season, or maybe it was 2 years ago that he won in the mini trucks, subbing for Barney Gerber, but now he's got his own truck, and it's a brand new one, and he's out front, and he's holding off the fastest qualifier and last year's champion, Eddie McLean. They're still going to get through traffic, the 26 of Squires. Aubil pulling away just a little bit from McLean. 2 to go at the line. Barney Gerber in that third spot, starting to pull away from that 4th place battle between Scott and Johnson. White flag in the air for Bill Aubil off of turn number 4. Final time down the back straightaway into turn number 3. McLean trying one more shot on the outside off of turn number 4. Your winner, Bill Aubil. Eddie McLean finishes second. Barney Gerber third. Bob Johnson fourth. And Tim Scott in fifth. Climbing out Here's your winner, Wild Bill Bill. Well, I got to tell you what, this is a first for me, okay, because you built me a race car and I put it in Victory Lane on the first night out, but I never seen you park one in Victory Lane after you just built a truck. Congratulations, man.
It's a 4.5-month build from the ground up. Me and my cousin had a bunch of other people. A lot of work. It definitely paid off.
Absolutely, it paid off. Beautiful truck. I love the paint scheme. Who you want to thank on this truck tonight, brother?
I thank everybody. Jay, Chris, David, Ange, all the kids, Becky, all the sponsors, Jeff at Industrial Engines, Poor White Trash Man, that's me, Buckeye Tire, Sugar Valley Meats, Larry Pringle at Pringle's Body Shop, your cousin's garage.
And you barely broke a sweat.
Yeah.
Congratulations, buddy.
Thanks.
Your mini truck feature winner and getting the snap-on hat. And oh look, Doug Poole's got a nice $800 impact wrench for you right here. We know how Bill Abel likes tools, don't we?
Yeah.
There's the business right there.
Hey, I agree with you, Doug. Thank you so much for sponsoring tonight's events, bringing all these goodies. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, everybody, and thank you for sponsoring Midvale Raceway. This is a home family-owned place, and you need to come out here with your family every Saturday night and sponsor and keep these guys open.
I agree, and it's time to get the announcer a shirt.
Who?
Oh, wow! Wow! Doug Poole just dropping it right there. Bill Abel in Victory Lane. The 0 of George Riddle, the 69 of the 169 of Matt Gribble Jr., the 07 of Josh Kempf, then the 18 of Brandon Short, the 90 of Emerson Hoffman, the 57 of AP Wren, the 30 of Corey Herron, and the 69 of Bob the Animal Eichel. So Jonathan Ritter will start on the pole, been oh so close in that Monar Racing family, number 48 to a feature win. In fifth, getting ready to go green. 30 lap McIntosh Oil Company late model feature is green. Caution on the speed feature is green. Little bit of contact there in turn number 1 between Ritter and Snyder. They go into turn number 3. Ritter on the bottom. He'll lead lap number 1. Snyder on the high side. Here comes Tedesco. Ryan Tedesco to the inside of Bob Snyder Jr. for second. The 65 of Tim Ice will get around Greg Forch for the 4th spot. But the battle for second between Snyder and Tedesco behind Ritter. Caution on the speedway. Caution is the 7 of Greg 402. Getting ready to go back to green, Ritter and Tedesco. Green flag in the air. Ryan Tedesco, half a car length lead into turn number 3. He's going to shoot out to the race lead and clear Ritter. New race leader, Ryan Tedesco. Here comes the 18 of Brandon Short working his way up through the field. He's now up into the 5th position as he gets around George Riddle. The 48 of Ritter in second, then the 17 of Snyder, the 65 of Ice, and the 18 of Short Your top 5 behind race leader Ryan Tedesco, starting to pull away a little bit, and here comes Snyder. Snyder looking to the inside of Ritter for second. Ritter gives him room. Snyder will take over the second position through turns 1 and 2. Brandon Short trying to work his way around Tim Ice. Ice slips up the racetrack. Here comes Short to the inside. Tedesco about a 5 or 6 car length lead, maybe 6, 7 over the 17 of Bob Snyder Jr. Then a few car lengths back to the 48 of Ritter. And then here comes Short. Is the 69 of Bob the Animal Eichel pulls pit side. .11 laps on the board. Ryan Tedesco with about a 3 or 4 car length lead over Bob Snyder Jr. Then Jonathan Ritter starting to fade back just a little bit. Brandon Short in 4th. Tim Ice in 5th. Oh, and spin up in turn number 4, Matt Gribble. Green flag back in the air. Back to green. Tedesco and Snyder. Tedesco gonna have the race lead off at turn number 4 as he clears Bob Snyder Jr. And here comes Brandon Short. Short gets around the 48 of Ritter. Now here comes Emerson Hoffman. Hoffman to the outside of Ritter. Emerson Hoffman showing some muscle. He moves up to the 4th spot. Cadillacs, Buicks, Toyotas, getting ready to go back to green. Tedesco, Snyder, green flag in the air. Ryan Tedesco on the bottom, Bob Snyder Jr. on the high side. Brandon Short in 3rd, Hoffman 4th, Ritter 5th. Bob Snyder Jr. hanging in that outside lane. Tedesco now clears him into turn number 3. Snyder has the bottom if he wants it. Snyder almost a little crossover move right there on Tedesco. Brandon Short will take over the 2nd position and caution on the speedway. Will they get their first win? Green flag in the air. Tedesco, Short, side by side. Short leads at the line by a nose. Brandon Short Almost clear at Tedesco. Here comes Ryan Tedesco battling back on the inside. Tedesco in that old car. Brandon Short in that new Seneca. Tedesco's car, a 1990 chassis. Is Brandon Short going to take the race lead? Emerson Hoffman, a good run in that third spot. Ritter fourth. Greg Forch in fifth. Caution on the 90 of Hoffman and the 48 of Ritter, getting ready to go green. Green flag in the air. Tedesco just couldn't get a bite off of turn number 2 in that 30-year-old chassis as the youngster in the 18. Oh, so fast all season long. Shoots out front once again. Brandon Short, your race leader. Emerson Hoffman, a good run in that number 90. First night out this season. Good run for Hoffman. 5 laps to go this time for Short. Jonathan Ritter in that crate engine runs in the 4th spot. Then the 7 of Greg Forch, his first time here in a couple of seasons in that number 7. The 0 of Riddle. The 17 of Snyder. The 65 of Ice. And the 169 of Gribble. Brandon Short starting to pull away from Tedesco just a little bit as Tedesco being swallowed up by the 90 of Hoffman. White flag for Brandon Short. Tedesco, Hoffman, and Ritter. Brandon Short wins again at Midvale Speedway. Ryan Tedesco second. Emerson Hoffman third. Jonathan Ritter fourth. And Greg Forch in fifth. Don't fall off there, kid. Matt's going to bring you down to water. Man, it's a hot day here today, brother. You had your work cut out for you coming from the back of the pack, didn't you?
Man, I'm wore out, honestly.
What is this? What do we got going on here?
It's called peach fuzz, buddy.
Peach fuzz? I don't know what's going on. What are you guys letting them grow this? What is that? Okay, well, see, she told you to shave it this morning and you didn't listen, did you?
No, I probably should have.
Well, but guess what, though? You won, so you can call it a good luck charm.
Yeah, I had to work a little bit for that one. We really didn't have any practice in this thing. We were racing our other car, and we had a few issues with that, so we just had to pull the back up out, and it was rough, but we managed to make it happen.
I'll tell you what, a great run up through the field. Who you want to thank on this 18? I know this has got to be getting old, isn't it?
No, I love it. I first want to apologize to Tedesco. I mean, I was so free off the turns, and I got a little sideways there, and I think we made contact pretty good. But, you know, it's not intentional. You know, he's a great racer. He's a great guy, so it's fun to race with him. But I want to thank Direct Detail, Hutter Racing Engines, All-Star Performance, Bicknell, Seneca Race Cars. There's a lot of people on this car that make it happen.
Congratulations, buddy. Welcome back to Knack Tuning Victory Lane. Man, is this car good? Man, are you good?
Thank you.
Okay, so your dad wants me to ask you why you brought this car today.
In case the other one broke, and I was disagreeing with him at home. I was like, we don't need to bring it, but he's right like normal.
Dad's always right. Brian Short, Victory Lane. Brandon Short, your winner of the McIntosh Oil Company Late Model Feature. So once again, make sure you check out Snap-on Tools by Doug Poole. Visit him on Facebook. The Tool Dude Incorporated on Facebook. You can get a hold of Doug Poole. Doug is out there in that blue Challenger. Isaiah Rohr alongside in that coupe. As we get ready to go, Snap-on Tools by Doug Poole, Street Stock Feature Racing. 20-lap feature. The winner's going to get one of those $800 cordless impacts. Starting on the pole, Frank Parvin, subbing for Frank Boyce tonight. Again, our thoughts and prayers with Boyce. The 44 is Brandon Donnelly, the rookie. The 118, Camaro Hair, Colt Locker. The 55 is Robbie Kordiak. The 67 of Honky John Tannerelli. The 22 of Kylie Wood. The 7 is Gabe Pringle. The 3 is Kyle Grove. The 88 is Dennis Wood, your fastest qualifier. The 22 of Rector. The 54 green flag for Parvin and the 44 of Donnelly. Through turns 3 and 4, Parvin going to lead lap number 1, Donnelly in second. Good battle between Locker and the 55 of Kordiak. Locker now to the inside of Donnelly. A lot of contact between Donnelly and Parvin off of turn number 4. The 48 of Barbucio going to pull pit side. And here comes Colt Locker. Caution in turn number 2. Caution in turn. Your front 6. Getting ready to come back to green. 2 laps in. Green flag is in the air. The youngster Brandon Donnelly, a good run off of turn number 2. He's going to have the race lead. Donnelly going to drop to the bottom. New race leader Brandon Donnelly, and now the 28 of Parvin gets into him. Brandon Donnelly, Frank Parvin. Parvin going to try and get back to the inside. Donnelly up the racetrack. Colt Locker and Robbie Kordiak now going to split Donnelly 3 wide. And now we got to spin. Parvin and Donnelly. Green flag back in the air. And caution in turn number 1. As the field goes into turn number 3. Getting ready to go green. Parvin and Donnelly, and we're green. Here comes Robbie Kordiak. Kordiak to the inside of Parvin. Here comes the 118 of Locker. He's going to get to the inside. Robbie Kordiak up front. Colt Locker second. Parvin back to third. Good battle between Wood and Donnelly, and now a little bit of smoke out of Rector. Looked like it was brake smoke, tire smoke out of the 22. Kyle Grove starting to make his way up through the pack. Kordiak, your race leader. Grove to the inside of Kylie Wood. Dennis Wood on the outside. Actually, Dennis going to follow his way through. That was Donnelly that was up there. Crazy racing in the mid-pack. As Grove trying to get around Donnelly and Dennis Wood boxed in. Robbie Kordiak way out in front. Colt Locker second. Frank Parvin third. And now Grove up to fourth. Coming to the halfway mark, Robbie Kordiak, halfway home. And caution in turn number 4. Not what Robbie Kordiak wanted. 2 laps to go. Kordiak and Camaro hair. Green flag in the air. Brandon Donnelly almost knocked the fence down off of turn number 4. He's going to go high and go pit side. Tough break for early leader Brandon Donnelly. The 55 of Kordiak, your race leader. Kyle Grove up to second. Colt Locker third. Frank Parvin fourth. Dennis Wood fifth. Dennis Wood way up the racetrack. He got to the outside of Frank Parvin and then lost his way a little bit. Still there in the outside lane. Josh Feaster problems as he pulls to the infield. Green flag back in the air. Kordiak and Grove. Five laps to go for Kordiak and Grove. Locker in third. Wood in fourth. Rector fifth. Parvin sixth. Robbie Kordiak. Here comes Kyle Grove. Grove looking to the inside into turn number 3. Kordiak gave him room, slid up the racetrack. Here comes Kyle Grove to the bottom. Kyle Grove to the inside of Robbie Kordiak, new race leader, and here comes Colt Locker. Locker to second. Kordiak back to third. Here comes Dennis Wood. Wood up to third. Into turn number 3 as Kylie Wood spins. Gabe Pringle goes to the pit chute. Caution on the speedway. Getting ready to go green. Green flag in the air for Grove and Locker. Grove out to the lead. Wood and Locker side by side for second. White flag in the air. Cordless impact. Green flag in the air. Grove and Wood. Down the back straightaway. Final time. Kyle Grove, Dennis Wood through turns 3 and 4. Off turn number 4, your winner, Kyle Grove. Dennis Wood second, Colt Locker third, Robbie Kordiak fourth, and Kyle Rector fifth. Kyle Grove! Well, it's been long enough that you even forgot your way to neck tuning victory lane.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I'll tell you what, you had to work for that one, man. What was you thinking when the caution came out? Like, dude, not another restart, not with this 88 alongside of me.
Yeah, I knew there had to only be like 2 or 3 laps left and then another caution. I had a feeling when you guys
called the lineup, you were going to say 88 outside.
Well, we did.
Yeah, but this car was hooked up. I got the best crew, the best sponsors, the best everything.
Tell you what, you had to work for that one. That's got to make it that much sweeter when you got to wait for one and work hard for one. Man, welcome back.
Yeah, a little rubbing. Car wouldn't handle and tore my hand up.
Oh, yeah, you did. But guess what? Doug Poole's here. He's got an $800 Snap-on Tools half-inch cordless impact gun for you. It'll make your hand feel a little better.
Yeah, it feels better now.
All right. Doug Poole stepping in. Congratulations. Your winner, Kyle Grove. So moving into the Van Meter Auto Repair Modifieds. Starting on the pole, the 02 of Rick Sibla, former late model champion. Feature winner in this division. Alongside the youngster, the 66 is Lewis McGrath. Magic Hobby sponsored number 66. His dad, a longtime competitor here back in the 80s and 90s at Midvale Speedway. Lewis will start on the outside of the front row. The rooster, Brandon Bailey, will start inside of row 2 with fastest qualifier Mike Stone alongside. A very short invert of the dice roll tonight for the modifieds. Only a 4 puts the fastest qualifier 4th. Then the 09 of Philip Cox, the 38 of Kevin McClintock, the 49 is Bob Page. Then the 12 of Mac Gribble, the 54 of Big Mac Doug McMillan, the 4 of Jerry DeVore, the 87 of Zach Leisure, the X09 of Wes Ennis, the 338 of Brandon France, the 75 of Bobby DeVore the second, the 57 of Don Rufner the third, the 99 of Connor McLean, the 15 of Kyle Finlayson, and the 24 of Nick Grubbs. So the pace vehicles being sent pit side. The field in the hands of the veteran Rick Sibla and the youngster Lewis McGrath. 25-lap Van Meter Auto Repair Modified feature. Getting ready to go green. Field in turn 3. Chief starter Terry Coletti, green flag in hand. Field in 4. Green flag in the air. Rick Sibla will scoot out to the race lead. Here comes Brandon Bailey for second. Bailey to the inside of McGrath. Mike Stone will take over the third spot. And a spin in turn number 4. That's the 4 of Jerry DeVore. Caution on the speedway. Complete 25-lap Van Meter Auto Repair Modified feature is green. McGrath hung there just a little bit longer, but Sibla going to have the race lead. Here comes Bailey. Brandon Bailey to the inside of Lewis McGrath for second. Philip Cox right there in the 4th spot. Mike Stone, then the 49 of Bob Page, 38 of McClintock, the 54 of McMillan. Lewis McGrath going to hold on to second spot in front of Brandon Bailey. And here comes Bob Page to the inside of the 331 of Mike Stone. Lewis McGrath was starting to reel in race leader Rick Sibla a little bit, and then he got really loose off of turn number 2 and lost a little bit more ground. Rick Sibla, your race leader. McGrath in second, 5 laps complete. Bailey, Cox, and Page rounding out your top 5, and now the 12 of Matt Gribble spins off of turn number 2. Green flag is in the air. Brandon Bailey to the inside of Cox, and now we've got a caution in turn number 4. Back to Green. Green's in the air. Rick Sibla clears Lewis McGrath to the race lead. Brandon Bailey tries to get to the inside of McGrath off of turn number 2. Here comes Rooster. They'll get the run into 3. Kevin McClintock into the back of Bailey after Bailey got checked up by McGrath. McGrath will hang on to that second spot. .11 laps on the board, getting ready to come to the halfway mark. Rick Sibla, the youngster Lewis McGrath, Brandon Bailey, Kevin McClintock, and Doug McMillan, your top 5. Philip Cox runs 6th, and Mike Stone, Zach Leisure, Brandon France, Jerry DeVore, Bobby DeVore, Wes Ennis, Rick Sibla, Lewis McGrath into turn number 3. 5 laps to go for Rick Sibla. 5 to go. McGrath right in his tire tracks. Good battle for third between Brandon Bailey and Kevin McClintock. Those 4 pretty much checked out from Doug McMillan and Philip Cox in 5th and 6th. 7th is the 331 of Mike Stone, and caution on the speedway in turn number 3. So, Sibla and McGrath. Green flag in the air. Lewis McGrath got loose off of turn number 2. Now a little bit of contact between McGrath and Bailey. McGrath will get back to the bottom. Bailey in 3rd, McClintock 4th, and now he's got Doug McMillan to his outside, or to his inside. White flag for Rick Sibla. Final time off of turn number 4. Your winner, Rick Sibla. Lewis McGrath, second. Brandon Bailey, third. Kevin McClintock, fourth. And Doug McMillan, fifth. The man in black, Rick Sibla.
I've had them all here.
Oh, I'm with you. Man, it's been a while since I've got to interview you in Victory Lane. You get that win over at Jennerstown, and now you're just going to start dominating.
Well, that's the plan from the start. But everything just worked out tonight. I honestly got to thank Mike Stone for rolling 4. It was awesome. We told him he's got to roll every week now.
Well, I agree. It's always tough in this division because everybody is so equal. Unless something happens either way, those guys that start up front are in a great spot.
It is, you know, these guys here, this is one of the toughest groups of modified guys I've raced with in a long time. Everybody gets along pretty good. We have a good time down there, and man, it's good to be back here. Glad my whole family's here. I do want to dedicate the win tonight to a friend of ours. She's doing real bad with cancer, and it's a real close friend of the family.
I know that's emotional to always do that. Thoughts and prayers with you guys and with her, brother. Who else do you want to thank on this O2? I know George Bowers under the weather as well.
Yeah, but he actually made it out here tonight. He's run a little buggy cart around here in the pits. It's first he's been back since the first night, so glad he's back. Tim, I mean, if it wasn't for them guys, I wouldn't be driving this car right now. And all the help, man, last week we had help from Emerson over in Jennerstown, and Andy Fishburne, he was over there helping us. He just couldn't be here this week. Thank my wife especially for letting me do that. That's why we got Novacell Real Estate. Need some houses to sell. Look her up.
Always got to give the wife a plug.
That's right. Also want to thank Back Lex Fittings for sponsoring us, and Custom Car Center. Everybody's just been a big help, and it's turned out to be a good, fun year.
Congratulations, buddy. Welcome back to Neck Tuning Victory Lane.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Your winner, Rick Sibla. So Neck Tuning, compacts on the speedway. The 47 of Don Rufner Jr. starts on the pole with the 13 of Kenny Feaster Jr. The 57 is Blaze Bacon. The 24 is Brent Schreffler. The 178 of Stephen Feaster. The 64 of Jamie Leslie. The fastest qualifier, the 007 of DR3, Don Rufner III. The 53 is Curtis Finlayson. The 41 of Toby Cook. The 69 of Drew Romig. Green flag is in the air. 15-lap feature. The 7 of Will Custer. The 44 is Dan Bucky. And the 24, Brent Schreffler, spins in turn 1. Laps getting ready to come to green. Don Rufner Jr., Kenny Feaster Jr. Green flag in the air. 15-lap feature. Don Rufner Jr. slides up the hill. Kenny Feaster Jr. going to do the crossover and take over the race lead. Brent Schreffler cleans out the 47 of Rufner. Everybody keeps going, and we stay under green. Kenny Feaster Jr. out front, Brent Schruffler in second. Here comes Jamie Leslie to the outside of him. Stephen Feaster in the 178 up to fourth, then Rufner and Rufner. Jamie Leslie, Brent Schruffler continuing to battle for that second spot. Leslie will take over that second spot. Schruffler back to third. Here comes Stephen Feaster and the 007 of DR3. Caution on the speedway, Don Rufner the third in the fourth spot, green flag in the air. Feaster, Leslie, Feaster, and Rufner. Problems for Kenny Feaster Jr., and he gets into Stephen Feaster. And all kinds of craziness on the back straightaway. Halfway home. Jamie Leslie, Don Rufner the third, Curtis Finlayson, and Stephen Feaster, your front four. Jamie Leslie, Don Rufner III, Stephen Feaster, Curtis Finlayson, and Eugene Kopp, your front five. Rufner all over the back of the 64 of Leslie. Getting ready to come to the white flag. 1 lap to go for Jamie Leslie. DR3 with a good move, but he couldn't quite get to the inside. Little bit of contact between Rufner and Leslie. Off turn number 4, Jamie Leslie gonna win. Rufner finishes second, Stephen Feaster third. The 53 of Curtis Finlayson in fourth, and Eugene Kopp in fifth. Here's your winner, Jamie Leslie. Dude, you had to work for that one, didn't you?
Yeah, that one was one of the little tougher ones.
I'll tell you what, DR3 was all over this thing. And I'll tell you what, I thought when you blocked him to the inside going into turn 1 after you took the white and it slipped up a little bit, I thought he was going to get there, but he got into the grass just a little bit, stalled that momentum. Great job.
Hey, thank you. I had to put a little dirt track experience there for a little bit.
Hey, that's okay. Dirt track just down the road.
That's right.
Who you want to thank, man?
I want to thank Cronizer Small Engine Repair, Careless Vinyls, Leslie Weldon Fab, Joe's Sideshow, Medley's Mowing, Patty Banlett Dental, and I got to thank, a big thanks to Brent Scheffler at Scheffler's Tuning, man. This thing has really, it's really a rocket right now.
Congratulations, buddy. Welcome back to Knack Tuning Victory Lane.
Hey, thank you.
Your winner, Jamie Leslie. Final feature of Snap-on Tools by Doug Pool night here at Midvale Speedway. Also a huge thank you to Ferris Chevrolet. Final feature. Starting on the pole, the number 96 is Chris Caldwell. The 39 is Dan Sharpless. The 79 is Phil Bunton Jr. The 38 is Chad Littlehands Wise. The 22 is Katie Wood. The 7 is Savannah Alm. The 79 of Eric Brokaw. And caution on the speedway right from the start. Going to go green. Chris Caldwell and Phil Bunton on the front row. Green flag's in the air. Phil Bunton has the race lead. Here comes Littlehands to the outside of the 96 of Caldwell. The 27 of Billy Hilliker and the 7 of Savannah Alm. Comes the 22 of Katie Wood, the 77 of George Paul, the 443 of Connor McLean, the 79 of Eric Brokaw, and the 85 of Jonathan Weber. Caution on the speedway in turn number 4, the 443 of Connor McLean, Jonathan Weber, Connor McLean. Green flag back in the air. Littlehands to the inside of Phil Bunton for the second spot. Billy Hilliker, your race leader. Savannah Alm going to move up to third. Billy Hilliker, your race leader. The B feature Bandit all over the back of Hilliker. Savannah Alm right there. Katie Wood up to 4th spot. Button back to 5th. Caldwell 6th. McLean 7th. laps to go. Billy Hilliker and Savannah Alm. Savannah Alm spins 38 of Little Hands. Chris Pro call. Getting ready to go green. Green flag is in the air. Billy Hilliker continues to lead out front. Chad Wise in second. Katie Wood third. Connor McLean to the inside of Little Hands. White flag in the air. Billy Hilliker, your leader. McLean in the 443 almost spun himself out in front of Little Hands. Now Katie Wood to the inside. She's going to spin out. Checkered flag for the 27 of Hilliker. McLean finishes second. Little Hands third, Savannah Alm fourth, and Bunton in fifth. Here's your winner, Billy Hilliker.
Yeah.
Come on over here, buddy. I'll tell you what. How you doing, bud? It's been a while.
It's hot inside that car, boy.
I can tell you, it wasn't as hot inside that car as it was the 77 up there earlier.
I seen a little bit of it as I turned and seen it was red. And
Yeah, it was red. It was red, orange, all kinds of stuff.
oh yeah, felt good. Car was turning. I had a bad qualifying time.
That's all right. You beat the B feature bandit, so it's all good.
That's what I was hoping for. It's time for a new sheriff in town.
That's what I'm talking about. New sheriff of the B feature. You'll be in the A feature next week. That's good news and bad news, right?
Hoping.
Well, no, you are, because the winner of the B feature has to be in the A.
Well, we'll start scratch and race our way through.
Sounds good, man. Who you want to thank on this 27 tonight, bud?
Oh man, there's all kinds of people. Number one, I want to thank my dad, my Uncle Jay, my sponsors, Pork Chop Graphic and Vinyl, love Brandon Thomas, Greg Parrish, Seamless Spouting, Brian Cronizer, I didn't forget about you, buddy. Cronizer 250 mowers. Anybody else? DMB Machine, my buddy Andy, my sister for supporting me. Wes is standing there. He's helping me out. Just everybody works on this thing. Thanks, man.
Congratulations, buddy. Welcome back to Knack Tuning Victory Lane.
Thanks, Chris.
Your winner, Billy Hilliker.
Ready to go green. Starter Terry Coletti. Green flag in hand. Tim Ice rounding out the top 5. Emerson Hoffman using this as a practice session starting towards the back. Corey Herring, Josh coming last season. 8-lap heat race number 1 for the Van Meter Auto Repair Modified. Rick Niblett to the inside of Phillips in the second position. McGrath, the 55 of Bailey. Lewis McGrath 5th, and around, getting ready to go. Ennis, Leisure, on the front row, green flag. Leisure trying to make that outside lane work. Still there, Ennis to Leisure. Turn number 3, up there. Outside lane down to the Top 6. 3 laps complete. 5 to go. Here comes Benjamin going to the inside of Eastern to the second spot. Benjamin going still trying to get around Eastern to that second spot. Good battle. Second, Douglas going third, Gary Moore fifth, and Vanessa McCreary in sixth. With the advantage down the back straightaway. Bobby Ford right inside of McCreary. On the speedway, getting ready to come back to the green and white. Green and white. White flag. Oh, green and red flag goes off the turn two. Here comes the Eight-lap heat race number 1 for the Snap-on Tools by Doug Spool Street Stop. Getting ready to go. Green Cordiac. race lead. Canarelli's going to drop back to the second. Here comes Kylie Wood. Kylie Wood to the inside of Canarelli. Here comes Kylie Rose to the back of the 22. Up to the second spot. Grove to third. Here comes Kyle Grove to the inside. And Kylie Wood to second. Bobby Kordiak, your race leader. Kyle Grove to second. Here comes Dennis Wood. Gets around his line. Moves up to the third spot. Seven of Pringle, getting ready to go back to green. Kyle Grove with the move on the outside. He'll take over the next speed for Bobby Kordiak. And then comes Dennis Wood. Dennis Wood, all over the back of that number 3, but Kyle Grove. Now, trying to get to the outside. Kordiak right there in third. Fourth, John Canarelli in fifth. Boise in the 28 is Frank Harbin. 77 is John Beecher. Rector will have the race lead. Osaka Prairie with Frank Morton at 30 Frank Harbin with the 20. Your front four. first night out in the 99. 55 is Tyler Bertram, 64 is in the 42 is Tony Barbuccio. Bertram's going to have the race lead off at number 2. Porco trying to get inside. Restart. Getting ready to go green. Roll and Bertram. Bertram's going to have the race lead off at turn number 2. On the outside, Ian Porco. First couple of first one has should be a good one here for the mini truck. Getting ready to go green. If Scott, Bob Johnson on the front. Tim Scott, feature winner 2 weeks ago. They'll have the race lead. Johnson up the racetrack. Here comes Avilo. Will Avilo to the inside of Johnson for second. Eddie McLean going to follow Avilo through to third. Johnson back to fourth. Silver fifth. Eddie McLean is looking to the outside of Audrey for the second spot. One flag going to come second, Eddie McLean third, Bob Johnson fourth, and Barney Gerber fifth. Getting ready to go green, Brink, and Rupert Garner. Green flag on there. Full wide into turn number one. Squires will take over the race lead. And here comes Ripley. Ripley thought about the 3-wide move into turn 3. Thought better of it. Three-wide down the back straightaway. Ripley's going to have the race lead. Ripley keeping ready. Just down the cross. Another full split side. Cross and Squire. Scott picked up the feature win with the trophy stocks on the large small oval a couple of weeks ago. Tabitha Kruger having the last time they ran with configuration in the number 5. And Drew Romick behind the wheel, that number 5 subbing for Tabitha tonight. Romick's going to look to the inside of Scott. Thought better of it. Matt Miley to the inside of the in the third spot. Scott trying to hang on in front of Drew Romick. White flag. Scott trying to hang on. Drew Romick in the second spot. Matt Miley, Blake Miley. Last time into turn number 4. Scott gonna hang on. Picking up his 3 win. Romick in second. Matt Miley in third. Blake Miley in fourth. So the youngster Curtis Finlayson, the old veteran, going, stacking up the field, hurt Stevens a little bit. Good battle up front between Finlayson and Ruben Jr. the outside of Brady Davis for the third spot. This guy in the third year. Rounding out the top five. The 443 of Connor McLean. The 44. Billy Milliker with the race lead in turn number 3. Bucky in the 44, and Ivy almost lost it in turn number 1. Roman's going to take over the 4th spot. Bucky's going to take over 2nd. trying to get around the 27 of Billy Milliker, pulling the race lead. The plane is third. The general will come final time with the turn number 3 off the 7S is Savannah Alm. The 39 is Dan Sharplin. The 6 is Ryan Alm. The 13 Jonathan Weber, the 79 is Eric Brokaw. Bill Martin Jr., former pure stock driver, first night out in the 79. Then on the race team, this is number 3. This Savannah Hall made it third move. Littlehead trying to work his way up through the field. Here comes Chad Wise up to second. Here comes Ryan Hall. And his sister comes third. Littlehead trying to run down to the 7F. Savannah Hall goes with the black flag. 2 laps under the qualifying time. Savannah Hall gets the black flag. Eric Brokaw and Jonathan Weber. Ryan Hall trying to make the Blake Miley to the inside of the 5. Roman and Miley going to lead by a nose in the line on lap number 1. Good battle up front between Blake Miley and Drew Roman. Blake Miley is the first senior winner of the trophy stocks this season. Remember that for your Trivial Pursuit question in about 20 years from now. Who was the first ever trophy stock winner? The Midvale Speedway with Blake Miley. Roaming runs in the second spot all over the rear deck lid of that 65. 2 car lengths back to Matt Miley. That second holder is the 75. Scott last week the winner in the 62. When I say last week, I mean last month, which is the last week. That's where all 5 and 5 to go. Romick trying to find a way around Blake Miley. Gonna have to use that from horn. Romick lost a lot of ground there trying that outside. Miley going to pull away by about a car length or so. White flag gonna come out this time for Blake Miley. Final time through turns 1 and 2. Down the short back straightaway. Miley protecting that inside lane. He's going to come off with car number 4 and win. Blake Miley your winner. Bill Romig finishes second. Matt Miley in third. And Keaton Scott in fourth. Being shown inside. Blake Ripley and Bob Johnson. The field is in their hands. 15 laps. Debris on the front straightaway. Chief Starter Terry Coletti calling for the caution to stay out. In row number 4, Rick Brink, Hooper Garner in row 5, getting ready to go green. 15 laps. Street stock racer, now in the mini truck division. Lots of experience. Much better start this time. Blake Ripley going to have to race lead. Johnson going to drop back into second. Look up Doggo working from the inside. Bill Audio will jump to that second spot. Inside of Johnson, then we go to the third spot. Here comes Gerber. Gerber inside of Johnson for 4. Audio, Eddie McLean, also your fastest qualifier. Getting ready to go back to the green. McLean in that outside lane. Orville on the bottom. Bill Orville will have the race leader to turn number 3. And McLean is still looking at that a good run off of turn number 2. Then he's in the turn number 3 for the race lead. Another time 7, Tim Ike, another legend at the Midvale Speedway, starts in 5th, getting ready to go green. 30 laps, McIntyre. Jonathan Ritter on the inside, getting ready to go green. 30 laps, getting ready to go back to green, Ritter and Ryan and Tedesco. beautiful inventory. Chevy, Cadillac, good Toyota. Pretty ready to go back to the green. Ryan Tedesco, all the Bob Sutton Jr. Walker down to the inside of Darwin. Parvin, Donnelly just a rookie in this division. He'll go into turn number 3. Here comes Robin Korczak. Korczak to the inside. Of Parvin. Here comes the 118 Walker. Out front, Holt Locker second. Parvin back to third. Dennis going to follow this Rechter, fifth. Hardman, sixth. First snap on first by Gus full three stop. Cordless impact. Down the back straightaway, final time. Final zone, finish wood, second, Cole Walker, third, Rocky Cordian, fourth, and Kyle Rector, fifth. We covered Terry Start. 25 laps, the engineer on a repair modified feature. in fifth. The 44 is Dan Bucky and the 24 Brent Crumpler should get their run. 15 laps, getting ready to come to the out the 47 improvement. Everybody keeps going. Everything that you do. Out front, Brett Russell in second. Here comes Jamie Leslie to the outside of inside. Intermittent contact. Top is fifth. Savannah on, Savannah on. Not listening to anything that's going over the radio. So we're just going to go green. Here's Caldwell and Phil Buckle. Bill Barton actually flew in here up Willingham to the outside of the 96 Caldwell. 22 of Stevie Wood, 77 of George Paul, the 443 of Connor McClain. Inside of Phil Barton for the second
You're on fire!
So George Paul fires down there in turn number 4. They get him out of that machine. Good job by the infield safety crew to get George Paul. Billy Hilliger continues to lead out from that line in second. Eastwood third. McLean in the 443 almost spun himself out in front of Little Hand.